down the basement, lock the cellar door, and baby, talk bloody to me.
Hi, thanks for joining us for another edition of Talk Bloody to Me. I'm Matt,
And I'm Breezy.
and today we have a special episode in honor of Easter. We've tried to we did My Bloody Valentine for Valentine's Day, and we did Leprechaun for St. Patrick's Day. We were trying to think of a movie for Easter, and there is some sort of Bunny Man massacre, but we went with Evil Dead Rise because we rise from the dead on Easter, or it ties in. That was our logic. So
Yep, it works out perfectly. So,
exactly.
And this is another fan favorite too, or fan request.
Yep, this was also a fan request, so the timing worked out perfectly. Before we get to that, though, we want to share with you some upcoming news of what's going on in the horror world in the theaters. And Breezy, what do we have coming up?
So currently in theaters right now is Winnie the Pooh 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been hearing that there's a when people was talking about Winnie the Pooh, the first one, they're not sure about the second one, which I'm pretty sure when I seen the trailer, it looked pretty dang good.
Yep. I believe Tigger is in it, and I think an owl is in it.
Yep.
And it looks really creepy on the trailer.
Yeah, because there was not no owl and Tigger in the first one.
Yep. So
and then the other one is The First Omen, which that's coming out in theaters April 5th.
Mm-hmm. That looks really good too.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited for that. And then also in theaters right now kind of looks similar to Omen maybe in a way is Immaculate, and I know we're excited to see that one. We're going to try and work that in somehow. Also in theaters and coming up on Shudder in about a month is Late Night with the Devil. And that movie's getting a lot of news because some people are upset about the AI because they say that it takes jobs away from artists that work on films. And I agree with that. Don't you, Breezy?
Yeah, like FX makeup type deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of worried about, upcoming horror movies. They might use more AI, and that's going to take away a lot of stuff.
Yep, all the special effects work and the makeup work, and even like CGI artists, and and like there's because apparently in the movie it's like when they cut it, the premise of the movie is it's like a late night talk show, and then when they cut to commercial, they have the little like "we'll be right back" with the graphics, and apparently they used AI for that. And they're saying, well, what's the big deal? It's just 3 little cut scenes. But then it's like, yeah, but it starts off like that. And then pretty soon you're using AI to make blood or monsters or special effects or explosions or sets and all these people that
are tell too.
Yeah, that's just it too. Like it always looks sometimes it looks too good. Like sometimes you can tell it's AI because it looks too good, if that makes any sense. It's like, wait a minute,
Yeah, we us horror fans, we're probably going to get so upset with this AI stuff.
Yep. So this might just be the tip of the iceberg. This might be the first that we hear of in AI. When they had the Screen Actors Guild strike, one of the big things they were striking about was they wanted protection against AI, replacing writers and replacing actors and voice actors and all that stuff. So,
yeah, that's big no-no.
Yep, I agree.
No, just stick to the FX makeup artist.
Yep. The graphic designers and the people who went to school who have loved horror their entire life, who are just dying for a chance to get paid doing something they love.
Right.
Exactly. Anyway, okay, now we can get off our soapbox and we can talk about this. Did we have anything else we want to talk to, or should we jump into the movie?
Our fan was reaching out, and her name is Heather, which she gave me permission to use her name. She also said that she went to AMC theaters and they do a Scream Unseen, and it's pretty much is like you pay $5, it's like $5 Tuesday, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And it's any horror movie, and we looked it up, and it's either PG-13 or rated R. So you get to choose, but you don't know what horror movie you're going to see.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's really interesting. I should really say that on the podcast.
Yeah.
I had no idea, but it's only at the AMC theaters.
hmm So here in Minnesota, those are in sort of the Twin Cities area, Coon Rapids and Edina, and we looked up a few Mounds View, basically the Twin Cities metro area. Um, but that's such a great idea. That's like a blind bag or a blind box for movies, like, or a grab bag. You don't know what you're gonna, it's a horror movie, and you can choose between a PG-13 one or an R-rated one. But
Yeah,
other
and
than that, you don't know what you're gonna get.
right. And she said there's also like a rate, you can see the rating of the movie too.
Okay.
And she was saying that she when she was seeing a movie and she actually seen Sting, which is coming out pretty soon.
Oh yeah.
And she said that
Well, that's cool. So you get like,
it was she said it was like decent. I mean,
hmm
we would give it a go, see if it's interesting or not.
Yep.
You know,
The trailer looks interesting. It looks like it could be really good or really dumb. It's one of those where
right.
it could go either way. But I like the whistling spider. It's cool. I like the little tweet
Oh
tweet.
yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you, Heather, for saying something like that. I
Yep,
had no idea that was a thing.
exactly. Also, we want to give a shout out to our friend of the show, Brian Wells, correct?
Yep.
And he, when we were struggling to think of the name of the guy that appears in Conjuring 2 when the thing spins around, and we couldn't for the life of us think of it, and he commented on YouTube that it's the Crooked Man, and it's like, yes, thank you. I
Yeah,
could.
there you go.
It was bothering me. I suppose I could have Googled it, but in the moment, I couldn't think
Yeah.
of it. But I like that.
And if you're a new listener to this episode, we're talking about the imaginary from last podcast, last episode.
Oh yeah, yep. So anyway, this week we're talking about Evil Dead Rise, and this movie came out. Oh my gosh, what year? Fairly recently, right?
Yeah, I think it was like, gosh,
2023.
2000. Yep, I was going to say 23.
So just last year. And it's part of the Evil Dead series, but this one is more, I'd say, more serious, more
Mm.
I guess the Evil Dead series is kind of known for over the top gore. Like I can remember Army of Darkness when the guy falls into the pit and then there's like the pause and then like the 87 million gallons of blood come shooting straight out of the pit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Evil Dead kind of has a reputation of excessiveness, but they always are kind of a little bit silly. Or Bruce Campbell as the character Ash kind of lightens it up with some of his one-liners and some of that. And this one, even though it's an Evil Dead movie, there's no Bruce Campbell as Ash. There's no lightheartedness. This is just serious, in-your-face, hardcore Evil Dead to the gills.
But Bruce Campbell was like, he was the ex-producer of
Yep.
the movie, but he is also the descending voice.
Oh, okay.
That's what I've been reading on.
The voice when they play the record that like summons the
Yeah.
thing. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an executive producer, and Sam Raimi is executive producer as well. So people with ties to the Evil Dead franchise.
Right.
And so
I mean, it's not the same without Bruce Campbell. So
right, exactly. It's a different take on it. But it's good. I really liked it a lot. So the movie, is this like considered a prequel, or is this just a whole different universe, like a whole different take on it? Or do you know for
some people like when I was talking to when it came out, they said it's sort of like a pre-sequel, but yet it's not.
yeah, that's
So it's like if somebody's going to ask me if it's a pre-sequel, I'm going to say no,
right.
not to me anyways.
Right. It kind of seems like it was sort of like a half-assed one. Like you could kind of, if
Yeah.
you used your imagination, make it work, but also not really. It's kind of just its own separate thing.
Right.
Yeah. But there's a lot of cool things. One thing I liked right away, off the bat is it starts off with a point of view shot of something flying through the trees and the woods and across like a river, and it very much reminds me of like Evil Dead 2 when the evil force is flying through the woods and it's flying through the trees. And so right away I'm like, oh, there, we're getting right to it. Here's the Evil Dead, it's going. And then it turns
Yeah.
out it's a point of view of a drone, someone's flying a drone around, and it's like, oh, you faked me out, Evil Dead Rise, right out of the gate.
No, when I first seen that when it came out, I thought the same thing too. I was like, "Oh, come on!"
Yeah. And then there's a scene where a woman like basically turns into one of, they're like, oh, you should go check on your sister, she's sick, and then she turns into one of the Evil Dead and kills them, and there's horrific gore and it's violent. She puts the drone blades to her face, and then it's like Evil Dead Rise, it comes out of the water as this cool graphic.
Yeah, I love that part.
Yeah.
It's like 3D in a way.
It is. It's really cool how it looks. It's really well done. Um, and then it says one day earlier, and then it cuts to an apartment, and then you get into what the actual movie is about, which honestly has nothing to do with those people at all until like the very end. But and I kind of noticed horror movies are doing that a lot. It seems in the last few years, like Terrifier starts off with interviewing the woman and she kills the lady, and then the whole rest of the movie is about, like our first episode was Terrifier. The whole rest of the movie is about Art
Right.
the Clown, but then it all ties back to that first thing at the end. And
Yeah, it's either twists and turns or it goes from the beginning, stop, and stop.
yep. And like Halloween Ends started off with him kicking the kid over the railing down the stairs and killing him, and
Yep.
Nope starts with the orangutan going nuts and attacking everything. So it kind of seems like that's, and it makes sense because people are going to a horror movie, they want to see violence and action and carnage. And
Yeah, and more blood and guts. I mean, come on.
exactly. And we don't have the patience to wait around for it, so give us a taste of something right out of the gate, then we can sit through the backstory. We'll be satiated for a while and can sit through the backstory. um so and in Evil Dead Rise there is very little backstory. You get a very brief introduction to these characters. There's a kid that's into DJing, there's a girl, there's a younger little girl that's doing some kind of crafts, there's a single mom and her sister comes and she's pregnant, and then there's some random people, and that's basically it. Then boom, Evil Dead. There's an earthquake, kid finds Necromonicon and some records, he plays the records that cast the spell, and boom, like 10
Yeah,
minutes in, you got hardcore Evil Dead action to follow up the beginning.
which previous Evil Dead it took just a little longer. This one just like not even 10 minutes in, then there you go.
Yep. And what are some of your favorite parts of this movie, Breezy?
Oh, there's a few of them I like. The one is like when the mom goes in the elevator and
Hmm.
all of a sudden she gets like twisted and hung up like that.
Oh yeah.
It's like that has to be so uncomfortable.
Yeah, that was when she first basically gets possessed by the, after it's summoned and the Evil Dead comes, and that actress must be like a contortionist, like very flexible, or else they did some very convincing special effects work because she bends in some crazy ways.
Yeah, I'm like, God, that she has to be one A hurting or she's that flexible.
Yeah. When they first showed her, I thought it was Liv Tyler. I was like, "Holy shit, it's Liv Tyler!" And then I'm like, "No, wait, it's not. It's another lady." But it
Yeah,
kind of looks like her. Um, I had it pulled up. What her name is? Alyssa Sutherland. So she's like the main. She's the
yeah,
mom,
I
and she's
mean,
like the main star, like the main evil dead victim.
yeah. Okay. No, and then my second one is probably like the ending when they use a lot of blood in the chainsaw.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yep. Yeah. So well, spoiler alert, but the at the end, the ending involves a chainsaw, all a bunch of corpses merged together into one big mutant conglomeration, and a chainsaw and a wood chipper and lots of blood.
Yeah.
You
You
know,
can't go wrong with that ending.
exactly. It's and then again, like Halloween Ends, they have a big grinder at the end and they throw Michael Myers in it. Did Evil Dead
Yep.
Rise and Halloween Ends rip off each other? Which came first?
I
Now
have no idea.
now I'm all think there's a conspiracy. I'm like, wait a minute, they both had big grinding things at the end. They both had a shocking, weird twist beginning. Anyway, I'm going off the
Yeah.
rails here.
What's your favorite scene, Matt?
There, one thing I really liked is when the kid is playing. Because there's an earthquake, and then he finds this old like vault that's been busted open, and there's there's the freakiest Jesus cross crucifix, I guess they're called, you've ever
Yep.
seen in your life, comes falling, and it looked like Jesus was like oh my gosh, did they make it look as weird as possible? But apparently they did for the movie. And then there's like a million little ones hanging over, but he finds the Necromonicon, and then he finds these records. Well, since they showed for 2 seconds that he's a DJ, he has this whole big turntable set up. And when he's playing the records, just how it sounds, like the voice and like the scratchiness of it, and then they like show like the speakers vibrating, like when he's saying like the words is like and it
Yeah.
shows like the speaker vibrating. That whole scene was really, really cool. I thought that was really well done.
That was really well done.
Mm-hmm. There was a part where I legit almost threw up. Like I came very close to throwing up.
Did you eat this time?
Yeah, I wasn't even eating this time. It's a good thing I wasn't, because I probably would have. But there is a part where the mom, possessed by the evil dead, there's some random people in the hallway that get involved, and she bites one of them in the eyeball. We're getting back to eyeballs. I have a thing for eyeballs, but she like bites, basically eats his eyeball out, and then like gags on it like a cat gagging on a hairball, and then spits it out. And there's like a point of view that follows the eyeball into another person's mouth,
Person's mouth.
and they like gag, and they choke on it and choke to death on it, on an eyeball. It's like, what the hell?
That made you throw up.
And
Almost.
I was like, and then I held it in.
Oh man.
It was a close one.
Well, at least you didn't eat at that scene or something.
Yeah. And then later on, the daughter, the older of the two daughters, gets possessed. She has all this blood, and like it's like ink almost. It's not even blood. It's like black, like like octopus ink or something comes shooting out of her
Yeah.
eyes and nose and mouth. And then someone comes and she's like barfing. She barfs or she throws up, and it's like, I don't know if it's bugs or worms or both, but it kind of looks like coffee grounds with little things moving around in it.
Well, it's what I'm gathering. It's probably like maggots.
That could be. It
Yeah.
looks like a big wet black mess of something that's moving and crawling, and I couldn't quite tell if it was bugs or worms or both. But if it wasn't for the eyeball, that would have really grossed me out. But at that point, I was like, after the eyeball, this is nothing. I don't even care about that.
I would figure that like the puke and like the little like maggot looking things would make you throw up.
And then she's chewing up shards of glass. She's eating, like biting into a glass and swallowing it. And she says, I have to kill the creepy crawlies inside me. And it's like,
Yeah.
why, Evil Dead? Why did you do
Gross.
this? Yeah.
Gross. But really, nothing really grosses me out. I'm like, I'll eat like a pizza or anything, and I'll eat during it. The most grossest thing, and I will not throw up.
There you go.
I'll just keep doing like they're like my friends like, how can you wash this and eat it? I'm like, I don't know, I just can.
You'd be like eating spaghetti and meatballs, and like right when he's choking on the eyeball, you'd be eating the meatball, and you'd be like,
Yeah.
this is fine.
Yeah, I would.
That's awesome. So what else do we want to talk about? I just got distracted thinking spaghetti.
Yeah, I know it's distracting. The one of the notes that I wrote down is the director Lee Corin. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Mhm.
Last name. He stated that he uses about 6,500 liters or 1,700 gallons of fake blood during the movie.
Oh my gosh, I can believe it too.
Yeah, I can definitely believe it. It's getting like a lot of blood.
Yeah, there is. There's a when she first gets possessed, she's in the elevator and the elevator cables kind of attack her like tentacles. And that's a nice nod to sort of like the tree roots. There's sort of the famous tree scene in Evil Dead where the roots and the branches come to life and wrap around the woman. So that's cool that they have those sort of like little throwbacks. We should talk about the Necromonicon, the Book of the Dead.
Oh yeah, we should.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, we should. We should definitely see that.
Yeah.
Watch it. Is this your first time watching Evil Dead Rise?
Yep, this was the first time I saw it. Have you seen it before?
Yeah, this is like my third time.
Okay.
So it's not my first go around.
Yeah, you've seen all this nonsense before.
Yeah, I have.
There's a part where when I think it's when the mom first comes in and they first see her possessed. I might be remembering it wrong, but she throws up like this sort of clear liquidy goop, and it just like doesn't stop coming. It's just like
Yep, just like that was it's like clear and like watery,
almost like corn syrup, but also sort of like spit and just
yeah, it's like liquid clear glue or something.
Yep, exactly.
Like runny clear glue.
And it doesn't stop. It's just like it covers the whole floor, and she's like, Thank you, Evil Dead. Thank you for that. This movie, you have accomplished the evilness of it.
Yeah, they did a really good job.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and we should mention that the elevator's broken, and like the stairs have collapsed. There was like an earthquake, and the elevator's broken, and the stairs collapsed. So they're in this apartment building, and they're kind of trapped on the one floor.
Yep.
Adds to the horror aspect of it.
Yeah.
So the one guy, when he's listening they listen to the record of how to stop it, and he says the only thing you can do is run. So I'm guessing that he ran, or someone ran and found that and hid it all in that basement of that apartment. They don't really explain it. You got to kind of use your imagination.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. And then how it ends is that pretty much everyone's dead. The one person gets away, and then a completely rando woman is leaving for her vacation, and she texts her sister, she's talking to her on the phone, and you see that's the girl from the very beginning of the movie. And right before she gets in her car, you see the flying Evil Dead force flying at her and about to possess her, and boom, it possesses her right before she leaves for her trip. In the end.
Yeah. I feel like there's going to be like another one too, maybe, because like the ending is they keep like at the end they always get possessed.
Yep. And then her poor sister even says, "I think I'm gonna get a rain check on this trip," and she's like, "Oh, don't be a wuss, come on." So, dang it, she could have been fine, but no, she got her head ripped off, her scalp ripped off. That's what happens: is you get your scalp ripped off.
Yeah.
That's why I don't socialize with people. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, I really like Evil Dead Rise. So what I was gonna say is like Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2, they kind of take place in the wood. Well, they do take place in the woods in like a cabin. And so this one ends with the Evil Dead woman in the woods in a cabin, and so that's how you can kind of make it work as a prequel. Like that's how the Evil Dead, the Necromonicon, and the evil got from the apartment building to the woods. But then what the hell was it doing in the apartment building? You got to kind of it's like
kind of just follows you to the apartment building.
Yep, true, exactly. So Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah, man, good one.
We should have to come up with like a rating system, like how many gallons of blood or something. Like out of 10, give it 8 out of 10 gallons of blood.
Yeah, I would do a 9.
9
gallons.
I think so too. I think you talked me into it. 9 out of 10 gallons of fake blood. for Evil
Yeah.
Dead Rise.
Yeah, I love it.
Are we going to retroactively rate our other movies?
We
Leprechaun,
should.
Leprechaun 2, yeah.
Oh God.
Let's start at the beginning. Terrifier, 9, maybe 10.
Yeah. Yeah. I do agree.
Yep.
Not
Although
the
I
10
think
down.
honestly, since I mentioned it, Evil Dead Rise, I think is actually pound for pound more gory than Terrifier. I think
Oh
Terrifier
yeah.
has the one sort of famous scene of the sawing that everyone knows about, but for overall minute per minute gore, Evil Dead
Yeah.
Rise has it down.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So then second we talked about My Bloody
Hallows Eve,
Valentine.
Hallows Eve 1 and 2. So
Oh yeah.
Hallows Eve, I'll give him maybe like 5.
Yep.
And then the second one, probably
1.
just, yeah, 1.
Yep, all Hallows Eve, I'd give a 5. I agree with you. The second one, I'd give a 1. Terrifier, I'd say 10. My Bloody Valentine, the original 1980s version, I'll give it a 3 just because it's a classic.
I would give it maybe a 4.
Okay. After that was Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I'll give it a 6.
I would give it about a 6 too, because it's funny
It's
and I
fun
like it.
and it's cool, but it's a little stupid, but it's supposed to be stupid, but it's
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
And
a
then
classic.
yep, it's a classic. And then Leprechaun, I'd say 2. It was better than All Hallows Eve 2. So I'll give it one gallon more.
I kind of want to say maybe like 1.5, almost 2.
Yeah, it's a classic too. I mean,
Yep.
it spawned a whole franchise of like 900 movies, so got to give it a little credit. A little
Right.
credit, Leprechaun, and then number 5 was Imaginary. I'd say 8 or 7, 7 or 8, maybe 8.
I'll give it a 9 because of the
9.
jump scares.
Yeah, there you go. Sounds good.
I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that was a good one. Old Chauncey Bear.
Yeah.
And so it looks like we're running out of time, but is there anything else we want to talk about quick before we're done?
Nope, that's pretty much it. Thank you for listening, and thank you, fan, for giving us a request for Evil Dead Rise for Easter, and happy Easter and safe travels.
Yep, and give us any requests you want us to talk about. Let us know. Like, share, subscribe, give us a rating. Anything you can do to help us be seen, we appreciate. And thank you all for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.